All right, so we're really going to be concerned with proportion today. So proportion is the relative size of things in our drawing. So it's the size of things in our drawing when compared to other parts of our drawing. So we're going to start off today by making 8 lines, each 1 inch apart. And my sketchbook's big enough that I can do this on a landscape orientation. If you have a smaller sketchbook, yours might not be. You might have to use 2 pages for this. All right? So I want those 8 lines. I'm going to tick them off on this side. And then I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to tick them off on this side as well. This is the way I get kind of straight lines going across. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so now I'm going to connect them. So a lot of my students will just kind of measure one edge of their paper, and then they'll draw a line going from there, and then they're confused about their lines not being straight. It's really hard to draw a straight line with only 1 reference point, but when I have 2 reference points, I just connect those 2, and I've got a straight line. So we're actually going to have 9 lines if I said 8 before, because we want to have 8 spaces. So we have a line at 0 inches, a line at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 inches. All right? So basically what we have here is a tool on the paper for measuring our people out. So we're looking for proportions. So it's in our interest to have some kind of unit to measure the people. And what we typically use when we're doing whole bodies is heads. Similar to the way we use eyes to measure out facial proportions, we're going to use heads when we do bodies. Okay? So I'm going to start over on the left-hand side. I'm going to kind of make a circle that goes like 3/4 of the way down to the first line. And then I'm going to bring the jawline down. That's going to be our first head. So same sort of method we used when we were drawing faces. Keep this relatively simple. Here's my nose. Here's my eyebrows. Hold those up. Mouth. Something like that. Just keep it simple. Okay. So now we're going to think about like the general guidelines for placement of the body. Okay. So about halfway down. So 1, 2, 3, 4 at the bottom of the 4 spaces. That's where the bottom of the hips are going to be. So the hips are going to be about 2 heads wide. So if you want to, you can even come up and you can measure your head width here. It should be a little over 1/2 inch. So I want my hips to be a little over 1 inch maybe. This head should be a little bigger. Move my facial features down a little bit. I feel like they're too high. So we'll keep our people simple today. So we're going to think today about like these little figure mannequins, okay? This is about the degree of complexity we maybe need to worry about today. I actually want to bring those hips in a little bit. All right, so this is going to be my hip structure right here. So if I look at my sheet, the bottom of it is about 4 heads up. The top of it is about 4.5. So this is about 4, about 4, half. Okay, let's do the shoulders. The shoulders are going to be about half a head down from the bottom of the head. Okay, and then we're going to draw the body in. Probably be good if I had like a dividing line here, right? Bring the hips in. If you guys could watch the language, I am recording this and I'd like to be able to use it again. Be great if I didn't have to put a mature tag on it. All right, so here's my basic sort of body structure. It's going to kind of fall in here. Got kind of a circle for the stomach. It's going to come up almost to the second mark, right? So this is the sort of abdominal cavity, right? Then we got kind of a rib cage here. Okay. Trapezius up here. We'll connect the neck in. So the neck is almost going to be as wide as the head. It's going to connect right below the ears. Draw those ears in. Something like that. Pectoral muscles are going to kind of be right below the second head level. All right, elbows. Let's mark the spot where the elbows are going to be. Elbow is going to be right above the third level here, going down. So 1, 2, 3 heads down. So we have kind of a ball joint here. We're going to connect this down to here. So breaking this down and thinking about the geometry of the parts here, this is almost kind of a spherical shape. And then it's connected by kind of a cylinder. And the cylinder is going to get a little wider in the middle, but don't go nuts with it. A lot of people make them really balloony and really skinny at the ends where they connect, and that looks kind of strange. So don't go too nuts with it. We're going to place the wrist right here. I'm going to number these lines, okay? I guess we should probably start at the bottom. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. This will help our terminology a little bit so we're all on the same page here. All right, so now I'm going to make the forearm, which is basically a cylinder, right? But it's a little bit thicker up here. And then the hand will sort of fill this up. So about almost halfway down to line number 3, a little higher than that. I'm going to start the hand by making a square for the palm. Then I'll add on the fingers. Here's our thumb. And our fingers are almost going to go down to line number 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? Now I need to widen these hips a little bit. All right. So now let's do one of the legs. So our knee joint. Oh, I should have done it the same as the sheet. I did it opposite with the numbering. Sorry. So our knee joint's going to be right above line number 2. The knee joint's going to be a little bit bigger. So it's going to take up almost half of that space between 2 and 3. Then we'll connect it up to the hip. Again, kind of a cylinder shape that just kind of balloons out a little bit. And then the heel of the foot is going to be right above line number 0. Again, we'll have a cylinder shape. And you'll notice that the calves and the forearms kind of have their meaty part up higher towards the knee or elbow joint, whereas the bicep and quadricep regions are kind of more thick throughout, I guess I'd say. And then the foot's going to be kind of like this. So we've got kind of a ball here, kind of a sphere for the heel, and then the foot is going to kind of come out from there and get a little wider near the end. Okay. We'll draw in the other side. Again, same placement, right above line 2, right above line 0. Connect those. Maybe this foot is going more sideways. Something like that. Elbow right here above line 5. Shoulder joint up here. Connect down. Make this a little thinner. Wrist down here. Thicker, up towards the elbow. Basically a cylinder shape. And for the hand, square. You'll notice that the thumb kind of ends right along the line where the fingers attach. 1, 2, 3, 4. Those are a little long. There you go. All right, so here's our first figure. I'm going to thicken this up a little bit. Actually, maybe his whole hips a little bit. All right, something along those lines. All right, so starting with our female figure, same sort of idea. We'll start by drawing the head. So I want this to take 3/4 of this area, the circle part. Okay, you can actually measure it if you'd like. 3/4, yeah. Then we want to come down with the jawline. With our female figure, jawline's probably going to be a little bit rounder. Those will be here. Eyes, eyebrows, lips. Okay. So let's start by actually make a central line coming down to line number 4. Kind of drop a straight line down there. Show us what that spine's going to be doing. So shoulders are going to be at about 6.5. We'll just mark all our spots to start with this one. Bottom of the hips be about 4. Top of the hips going to be about 5. Knees going to be right on 2. Here. Here. And heels are going to be right about 0, here and here. So let's try and get that torso shape, okay? So she's going to come, start about here, maybe about 2 head widths for the shoulders. So her shoulder joints are maybe going to be about here. Actually, probably, that's all right. Drop that a little bit, maybe. Here and here. Right, and then from that shoulder joint, let's start up there. We're going to come down. We're going to come into here. It's going to be kind of the narrowest point. Same thing over here. And the hips are going to come out and start to curve back in right before line number 4. Okay. Same idea down here at those thighs. And merge into the hip line here. And our calves, a little thicker at the top of the calf, a little thinner at the bottom. Maybe a little thinner. All right. Now arms. So put elbows just a little bit out from the shoulder blades. Connect those. Wrists. Be about here. Got our hands to the sides. We'll drum that way. And again, forearms, a little bit thicker. A little bit thicker towards the elbow. So her neck's going to be a little bit thinner. Trapezius is going to be a little bit straighter. These are probably going to be a little more rounded. Making a beef boy. Here, wrist down here. Thicker up towards the elbow, thinner down below. Round. All right, and the hand. Make the hand a little thicker at the wrist, then kind of taper as it gets towards the fingers. Here's our thumb. Here's the fingers coming on. All right. So there's our female figure. Maybe thicken this up a little bit. All right, there we go. All right, so now let's work on refining these a little bit. I'm going to show you how to do that a little bit. So this process is really about like laying things down and also about fixing them. So we have to fix our mistakes, okay? So someone was commenting about how theirs look like robots. That makes sense, of course they do. All right, I think it's really useful to think about drawing as being sort of a sculptural process. All right, so when we're going to build a big sculpture, a lot of times we'll build what's called an armature, which is kind of a skeleton for the sculpture. And it might be made out of wood or metal pieces, or it might just be stilts that hold the structure up, because clay only can hold so much weight. So if we have a supportive structure, it kind of makes it easier to build big things. So you can think of this as kind of being your armature. This is the structure that we're building our figure on. I think my guy here needs to be a little thicker in the shoulders, and I need to drop his shoulders down. So I'm going to do that. And the shoulders like this. Not necessarily that the top of the shoulder needs to be much lower, but where it connects, where that deltoid connects, maybe a little bit lower. Bring his body out a little bit. A little more like that. I think that's a little better. So I can start to pull some of this stuff out, right? So some of this armature structure that I've had in here, I can start to pull it out. And that'll help things look a little more human, a little less robotic. You can also start to shade things in. So I can put a little bit of shadow under his pectoral muscles here. Put a little shadow under his ribs. Oh, cuts down. Belly button around here. Add some musculature if I'd like. Knees up a little bit. Probably going to have a little shadow under the kneecap. I'm probably not going to have anything up above like this, so I can take that out. Put that up there. A little bit of a bulge back here behind the knee. A little bit of meat there. Pull some of this out. Add some toes. Big toe is going to be on the inside. Right? Big toe. Some lines. 2, 3, 4. Something like that. Take some of this out. Good. Short on time. Let's work on her a little bit. A little closer, I think. I still think he needs, like, hips need to be widened up. Again, you can pull out some of this extra information here. Oh, I really smudged her up. It's all right. Smooth out some of that extra stuff. Come back in. This is a great kind of practice to go through. We can kind of erase some of that structure and sharpen up and redefine the lines. Because as you're going over the lines, it really makes you look at each individual line. And that's when you're going to see things that are wrong or that you're not happy with. And you're going to make the changes as you're doing that. So that's really useful part of your process. Kind of sketching first lightly, and then altering as you need to. So there we go. Got two pretty good people. I'm going to bring his hairline down. There we go. All right. Okay, so the really important thing here is that we are measuring with our eyes and making things the right proportions relative to each other. Okay? Yeah. We don't have enough time to do backs today. If you feel like it, feel free.